Mame fa na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Bojantra kikan kwasi asem no na ye kind document to come and break down for Ghanaians to understand. Into wudru page 4, ye will be a friend no detailed findings. Say be report we na me watermark na me to system ni mu a energy ministry ni ba omombra magasa me boa. These are the facts. Bibia ni ma obi abetu makase a contest wo Ghana. Now, let's move forward. We are going to read and explain. Oko page 20 in the report. Key decisions that led to the container hold up at the port. These are the key decisions. The container hold up after the committee investigations. Nyabutre obeti ase obewon MPP omuya beifo nkwasiafo. We need to jail all of them. Now, 4.1.1 key decisions that led to the container hold up at the port. 1. ECG decided to use costs, insurance, and freight as their preferred incoterm in engaging local suppliers of foreign goods, requiring that ECG clears the containers upon arrival at the port. 2. These are all the key decisions are leading to the hold up. 2. To facilitate this, management decided to set aside and transfer 5 million Ghana cedis each week into a shipping account to be used by the shipping department in clearing ECG containers that arrive at the port. Into ECG, imagine say, containers are omode beba nyina omube yino be a department and imagine say almost every time biano disikabetum 5 million Ghana cedis. Now that department where your investigations the uncover and make kind sure mess have back. That department ECG department all that they did was they were putting 5 million Ghana cedis in it. Send a every time container bed reports and no clear. And that was basically to sit down every week biano near their tomb container bedroom ya ECG ship container bia bedroom ya na normal clear. They didn't want to incur any debt at the port. In the investigations omu say there was a department like that omo ECG edisikatum every time de biano sika dem 5 million Ghana cedis. It container no bedroom port na normal den omoyi yanko enim. Now okay, point 3 now remember, 5 million Ghana cedis not every week. Every week be na ECG transfer 5 million to. And 1 month, and 2 months, and 3 months. And every single week na ECG 5 million Ghana. Normally akoto sa department na account nim shipping department no. Omo de omodwuma nyina say every week be 5 million ba be dem normally clear ECG goods or port. And ECG was never supposed to encounter anything like demurrage. Say ECG port a ship and a container abeka tema port na ECG nyesikanyi because there's always money sitting and waiting. Now point 3, this is page 20. You about publish document na mama. Point 3, the committee noted that this initiative greatly assisted with containers being cleared without them piling up at the port. Inti omo who say in the investigations omo who say 5 million the 2 week biara na eboa emomo ye dey omo tumi eyi omo nyoma free port wano abra Ghana emboka. Point 4, page 20. However, management in 2022 omo say emom afi eye 2022 no BBC management stopped transferring the 5 million Ghana cedis into the designated shipping account. Inti almost suddenly 2022 ECG management led by Dubik Mahama, that time not Kelly Gajapo and a board chair, they stopped moving money into the shipping account. Sa account na every week bia omudi sika tum 5 million Ghana every week tum send a ECG container be reporter omeyi fast no every week 2022 no mujaye Dubik Mahama na MD Kelly Gajapo and na board chair. Suddenly they stopped. Now the question is so mujaya wa wo hwe idea na be see. It means to say ECG containers be reporter omuntumi clear no wano. They cannot clear it as frequently as they used to, meaning there's going to be backlog. It means containers are going to pile up. Because the moment you stop the flow of money, it will be clear goods. Every container that comes to be, it will be stuck. Now the question is, why did they do that? Page 20 in the investigative report. Point 5. The containers then started piling up at the port due to the unavailable funds to clear them. Into 2.5, the containers started piling up after Dubik Mahama or MD or Nikeli Gajepo any board decided to say they did not give any reason, they stopped. So the containers started piling up. Now point 6. The Material and Transport Directorate raised the issue at a management meeting but received the response that there were no funds. You see, Transport Directorate no more ECG at a management meeting not Dubik Mahama or MD nitwo and a transport for na share a shipping and logistics no maso raise say boss 5 million na de be to a shipping account nim no say sika no moja etua your containers so air pile up busa Dubik Mahama management meeting no o se sika ni ho obi anfa no jimi nkoda sika ni ho enti pushi ye Dubik Mahama say sika ni ho free on no a and almost ye din. Let's move forward. Now go point 7. The Material and Transport Directorate wrote at least 3 memos appealing to management to release funds to enable them to clear the containers. However, no response has been received from management regarding these appeals. Inti transport for no almost any Transport Directorate for no they kept pushing. At least they wrote about 3 letters. Ekoma management and not Dubik Mahama Edano say, boss, the containers are piling. We are incurring losses. We are incurring debt. Ghana for bre Sikano air pilo or ekeba. Dubik Mahama receiving the 3 letters or told them he does not have any money to give them. He ignored them. Kelly Gajepo was the board chair. Mijujum amount. Senabaya ochina kakobi ana kwasiebi embeka se kwasiebi anaka kobi metina radio so mbeka say ai na NDC for yejudwam now yanko enim. Let's go to page 21. Sorry. Hey, I've gone ahead of myself. Yanko page 21 in some dorsum. Ubemu point 8. This is still the investigative report no obiehun Ghana da hankwa. This is the first time. Minister, you must I can tell a fucking guy. Yes, I control. Now, point 8, the same investigative report, I'm say, in as much as the containers kept piling up with resultant demurrage coupled with management excuse of the unavailability of funds, ECG through the management director continued awarding new CIF contracts without using competitive procurement methods, requiring the payment of 90% of the contract sum when the supplier submits the shipping document. Now, procurement transport directorate for Pushia Dubik Mahama Eka wono. The same time ana containers na pile no na ECG through the board Keligajepo air board chair and Dubik Mahama ECG director no, they were still giving a year contract to companies to be shipping containers or more things to Ghana. In fact, they were basically giving them 90% funding for assuring them to bring it. Inti Ghana for na say we are piling, nyome pile, Keligajepo any idea Dubik Mahama says the same time no, they were still telling shippers to bring more containers. Busangusa, why? Because the ones at the port, your transport directorate for the say we don't have money, we need to clear them, they are piling up, we are paying demurrage, still also winning funds, but you are able to still contract companies to bring more containers. This is what the investigators auditors investigations this is what they came to see. So I say obi ye BB 1 sikana also declare your port I stop it and 2 Omo in charge of clearing of the goods no air catch the MD say management ye nyoma na pile ekeba demurrage chair or sikeni wo. 3 the same time as sikeni wo no do big Mahama management and still air shipping nyoma e de ba eyeteba port. Why is it so? Busa won say adentra. Let's move on. Now point 9. Listen to point 9. Per custom laws, consignment that are not entered for clearance after 21 days of discharge at the port are registered under uncleared cargo list UCL and therefore become the property of the state. Say during the investigations, who say embra or why say container ebe ditema port na after 21 days nipa na or ship container ne buy no when to man clear container na automatically sa container na ebe ye Ghana dia. It becomes a property of the state. And in this case, it's a state agency that basically imported these containers. Until right now, no, 21 days the state agency has not paid to clear the containers. So it has become another state property. Into technically, no, ama manasha de guo and a demurrage action and a still almost shipping more deba. Now, Mamin Kobe Nim. It says, oh, team. Okay. Now, when you read the point 10, this is what it says. Containers that remained uncleared for a period of time attract demurrage charges payable to the shipping line. Inti, so containers in the report wa. Na say 21 days. Na so obi ambe year. Sa shipping line na ebia temaport companies na omu hosti containers na esi o masase so no. Omu keep containers no. Now demurrage no was say boa o containers every single day bia no it builds up. Kano almost all container amount you need to pay basically to make it easy for you no shipping line no and our companies now a host o container na say container this see o masase so port one you have to pay every day for not coming to clear your container. The big Mahama knew. ECG board led by Kelly Gajipo as the board chair, they knew, they still ignored. They were still shipping containers outside Ghana coming to the port, even though they knew, say, they had hundreds of containers sitting there attracting demurrage. They didn't care. They were still shipping in containers. Dubik said there's no money, but they are still ordering more things to be stuck at the port. Why is it so? Somebody is doing something. There is a plan. Point 11. The number of containers on UCL kept rising with exponential increase in demurrages. Into omo who say afedie containers no ba na eba ECG a onyi containers no ba na eba ECG so a mo an omo kra e na abegu na demurrage action e na sika ne kosoro. Dubik Mahama does not care. Who was the boss here? They not care. Now the question here is, why do you think they know that containers are piling up and they are still shipping containers back? Why do they know that the containers are attracting demurrage? Why do you think they didn't do anything about it? The answer is in the pudding. There's a plan. There's a game. They know what they are doing. They are piling it for a reason. Now let's go to point 12. By December 2024, the number of ECG containers on uncleared cargo list UCL had totaled 2,491. Say at the end of December 2024, no, not Dubik Mahama. Omakra containers is 2,941 in the support war. Omon clear any guho. Busa say why? Sa containers here good port way. Where investigations now, John Jinapo, Emma a committee a year. No, this is their findings. Why do you think they are doing that? Why are they not concerned? Because it is looking more like demurrage no mutual crap. At the end of the day, it could be say a bit to make your containers 100,000 times, but they are leaving the containers there to attract more debt. I didn't know more, yes, sir. Now let's go on. When you get to point 13, sorry, point 13, this is what it says. Management wrote to the Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority for restoration, and request was subsequently granted. Inti management as actual letter comma GRE per restoration and a GRE that time na Ekufuado nipa no amishadai ananya onwa na sa kromfo na and abianya amishadai akwabi na when we do retirement na Ekufuado sa extending, they kept that guy there, and that guy restored, that guy was granted that. Now already point 14, there's something there, let me show you. Point 14 in the investigative report, or see, the Materials and Transport Directorate initiated negotiations with the shipping lines with respect to waivers of demurrage cost and had a favorable deal from the shipping lines. In the Material and Transport, the Department of ECG, they wrote a letter to the shipping line. Companies now hold containers no port and say, "Ya percent ka enimo edin komona moma ye waiver bi." Now waiver no anke boya me to me clear the containers no. This is a department with ECG. They were trying to take action because they thought to say a can do 2,941 containers and a go. They wanted to have a negotiation with a shipping line so that the shipping line can meet them halfway for them to be able to ask for some waiver. And as a sobi now to me a clear container no. This is the transport and material for no. They are trying to be proactive. Now Rebecca say, where is the evidence? I make sure one letter. I have about 20 letters. I have container numbers, but I make sure letters this is one of the letters they wrote to one of the letters they wrote to the shipping line. In this study, this letter was written on the 18th of October 2024. 18th of October 2024. Technically, almost a month after Dubik Mahama resigning a free infant ECG. So when you read the letter, you will see it. Electricity Company of Ghana, Electro Voltage House. The letter is dated 18th October 2024. Now, when you read, it says the commercial director, Meridian Port Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, port new for no, no mu hold the containers no, into na ECG for department no, actually takuma mo say, percent komo mu waiver bi, nanka tumia den, eboa na clear containers the team. So study letter the date now. October 2024, now Afenyomakin was the board chair. Afenyomakin became the board chair on July 2024. July 2024, and Afenyomakin ebe board chair. Until when this letter was being written to MPS for a waiver, Afenyomakin was the board chair of the ECG. And that department of ECG, were worried. They really wanted a waiver into a mutual letter. And to remember, this letter, Afenyomakin should know about it. Unless as a board chair, he wants to come in front of Jakpa and tell the whole Ghana, say he knew nothing about this letter and that the letter was written by that department head without consulting the MD and also the board. Inti Afenyomakin should come out and tell us, say he doesn't know anything about this letter. Now, what is in the letter? Let me read what's in the letter. So the board chair, ono Afenyomakin, your letter we no, on na LED board no. Now read the letter now. We respectfully request a waiver of terminal charges accrued on the unit attached below, which have overstayed in your terminal. Many of the units were imported as supply inputs for various electrification expansion programs and a stock for critical repair and maintenance. However, due to many reasons impacting on our supply chain, these units have grossly overstayed at the terminal and attracted prohibitive detention charges. I'm sorry, it's very faint. So I'm doing my best to read for you to know what is actually in that letter that that department at ECG wrote to the MPS, the shippers, the Omanobu holding containers. No? It is our hope and expectation that a 90% waiver will be granted on all accrued charges to enable us to clear the units by the beginning of the week. This letter was written on the 18th of October 2024. Afenyomakin was the board chair of ECG. And the department that wrote this letter, a department is under the leadership of Dubik Mahama, who is the MD, and Afenyomakin, who is the board chair. Now, into Stadia, all the letter was trying to say, then they say, how much your letter come MPS? Usheni Paul signing a friend, Engineer David B. Asamoah, Managing Director, Acting, Deputy Managing Director, Engineer and Operations, ECG, Director, Materials and Transport, into the head of Materials and Transport, Mr. David B. Asamoah. He actually wrote this letter to MPS, to say they need a 90% waiver. Omunyi ekani bebre free sunenka 10%. Na omuntimi enclear containers 2,941 na egu na attracted more cost no. Afenyomakin was the board chair, Dubik Mahama was board chair. The question is, these two people, did they know about this letter? Can they tell us if they had access, they were told about this letter? Does Afenyomakin know anything about this letter? Does Dubik Mahama know anything about this letter? Because this letter was sent to MPS. That's our first document. Afenyomakin is guilty. And anything I can say, let us all come together. Obwa, the crime, now you can't watch them no. The crime, now you can't watch them no. Afenyomakin knows everything about this crime. In fact, today in Parliament, he gave you a lot of information. And to remember, this letter, we will publish it, we will let the world know. Afenyomakin needs to come and tell us whether he knew about this letter as the board chair, and also Dubik Mahama, if he also knew about this letter as the MD. We want answers. It's simple as that. Now, when you read the investigation or investigative report, there's something here I want you to look at. Oko eye number ana point 15. Point 15. Where your page 22 in the report. We will publish it. Don't worry. Page 22.15. Mami numusio kakra. Now, point 15. The shipping department began processing the affected containers for clearing and reached the point of payment, but management failed to allocate funds for this exercise. Into him, the department now, omucho letter comma MPS say, 90% waiver no. It is looking like, or it looked like say MPS agreed. Say okay. Say I buying ECG much rubber say more per 90% waiver. We are all working together. And they more for 90% waiver no. Now more for 10% in Brana. But time Masako management led by who? Led by Dubik Mahama, who is the MD, and Afenyomakin as the board chair. No, they said there's no money. Remember, these are the same people who were giving contract for companies to bring their more containers to the port. When these people were able to negotiate to make sure these containers were cleared, Afenyomakin and Dubik Mahama told the transport and the material department now, who were trying to talk to MPS to say, give us 90% waiver. Afenyomakin and Dubik say they don't have money. This is the investigative report. They made it sure they will publish it. Until when they went back, Afenyo and then Dubik said there's still no money. Even the 10% now I almost skinny. Now, point 16. Ahana de because my sure document waha ya let waha very important. Afenyo, me say per this document I am showing you, he's a criminal. Now, up kind point 16 now. Two clearing agents, the time now mo catch Ghana for any ECG transport department now almost pay waiver 90% no. The same time no. Two clearing agents, Meet Logistics, first followed by Dawald's Bond Limited, were introduced to the shipping department by the then managing director through the Director of Materials and Transport as companies contracted to clear the UCL. You know what happened? Dubik Mahama, that time not the MD. On the Avenue Marking, they did what? They brought on two companies. And companies, Edina Meboy, Mint Logistics, and Dawad Bond Limited. Now, so two companies way, and Dubik, introducing ma NPS, hold the containers no port through the transport department of ECG, say these are the two shipping companies that can clear the containers from the port. Remember, ECG had gone to NPS to deal directly with NPS to give them a 90% waiver for them to pay and clear. Dubik Mahama can say there's no money. Avenue Marking can say there's no money. But the same Avenue Marking and Dubik Mahama brought two companies on board and said, the two companies, and a transport department, and for Munko the NPS, no Munko clear containers, Where are these companies coming from? Who are these companies? The ECG has been clearing its containers from the port every week by putting 5 million Ghana cedis aside every week, and nothing happened. Why is it that suddenly the 5 million is not coming again? They have stopped that. They have piled containers at the port. Now they are telling NPS, who are the ones holding the containers, say there are some two companies from somewhere. Those companies are the ones who are coming to clear the containers. And can you be after your marking Chebiano? Monko awo or teshi or sheteshi. After your marking or sheteshi is here, awo, fiohono, or Kwaraminu, after your marking. Now, my mention you see. So, two companies. Your friend Baku Mint Logistics, and your friend Baku Dawad Bond. Now, my mention what DB. You bought two companies ding. Now, Tiadie, subsequently, Mint Logistics Limited was awarded a contract to clear 1,110 containers at 160,000 Ghana cedis. First, Omudinkaima Mint Company say Uncle clear 1,110 containers and ECG chia 160,000 Ghana. 160,000, which is Ghana over 16 billion. Edema, sa company way from nowhere say omunko clear containers no port war. You see, so two companies from nowhere have been created, and they are the ones who have been given money by ECG that did not have money to clear their own containers, but they have been able to get two companies that they can pay to go and clear containers at the port. The board chair is half in your market at this point. This is the time. This is the same time around Dubik Mahama preparing to leave. He created these two companies and left. And then his companies, were the ones coming to clear the port containers. So per container, 1,110 container. But could be almost clearing 160,000 Ghana. Do the math. TNA. So company friend Mint Logistics, after your marking any Dubik Mahama Moma and the contract say containers 110 and 1,110. So company ninko clear. Now each container be an ombetua company 160,000 Ghana. Per container, per one container. Or clear 1,110. Mint company clear 1,110 containers. Container ba could be a lift free airport to a port will be an omobetua 160,000 Ghana cedis. 160,000 Ghana cedis. All Ghana cedis 160,000 old Ghana 160 bill saying container ba could be a company by lift be an 1.6 billion old Ghana. 1.6 billion. It is a company way Ariana or left 1,110 containers. Abakubia Yutianica 1.6 billion. Or the brand new Ghana na 177.6 million. That company took that money. ECG na only sika 5 million Ghana to be taking their containers out. They have given one company, Mint company, from nowhere to clear 1,110 companies 110 containers. Each container be almost 160,000 Ghana. Or about old Ghana anymore. 1.6 billion or clear 1,110. O calculate here and the Ghana is gonna 177.6 million. One way they have in your market and internal catch him say, let us all come together and fight it. He knows he committed this crime as the board chair. Now, my mention what now when you go forward, Dawat Bond, now two companies. The second company, Dawat Bond Limited, was also awarded a contract to clear 200 containers in 4 weeks at 115,000. Inti meant there onya 1,110 containers to clear. But could be a bit 160,000. And at Dawad no, you can say on clear how many? On clear 200 containers. Bakubia yabama container bakubia 115,000 Ghana. Old Ghana no 1.1 billion container bakubia. After your marking, I'm asking, does he know about this as the board chair? Now, my mention DB. Oh, two companies. Let's pause here. My mention the background of the companies. We have gone to dig the companies. Maybe show DB, you'll be shocked. Now, let me show you the background of the companies. Mint company in NA. You see the Mint company? Mint company in NA. Now, let me show you the details. You'll be shocked. Only say Mint company only 10 workers. After your marking it do big mahama, we are fucking criminals. They are supposed to be locked up. Okay? Company, no, we decided to dig the companies, those two companies, Mint Logistics and Dawad. Now, this is what we were able to find. Oh, in our next production, we will show the faces of all the owners. We will show the faces of everybody. The company owners. Now, the Mint company in the NA, Mint, Mint Logistics, 2017, or company, Now, sir, go down and check the details of the company. Let me show you something here. Nipa, Juma company, Omundru, 10, just 10. Only 10 people. Now, entity company, Edin Oma company ni omudini yawo Rita in 3 director the pin number oho ya the the tin number and yawo Edward Abuaje osaya director ono na director wa ha enti company no it belongs to 2 people. The directors are Rita in 3 or a director and Edward Abuaje ono so a director. These are the 2 people. Now so in detail, now checking the number of workers on what's our company, ma. 10 pay. The Mint company, the workers are only 10. These documents, we will publish it after the show. In this I'll check here, you can see clearly, they have only 10 workers. It's down there, and they read only 10 workers. Now, so we read the document now. You can see number of employees employed or envisage 10. Revenue envisage 30,000 Ghana. Inti ninyina oho phone numbers. We will publish this right after the show. Mema who companies now after John Mark do big Mahama came together to create behind the scenes to go find them to come do this job. You know something? They create these companies and keep them in rooms. So they don't do anything with them. They use them when they want to use them. So don't get this wrong. Sometimes you see a company B was created 2017. They create them and they keep them. And sometimes deal be bad. No more for do you have anybody who has a shipping company? Be a Daho redundant. Also, yeah, we have one. Also, bring that one. That is what they do. Now we will show the faces of all of these guys. Now, my man show a Dawad company. Nipa send a Juma Dawad. Do you know, say, when we went deep to check this Dawad company, this is the Dawad company. So I'll check here. Company with shares. Company type, private limited. Dawad Bond Limited Company. Air registration number, we will publish everything. Now, you be also 2017 and you be a company way. 2 companies in you be in 2017. Yes, they know what they are doing. Now, my mention details kakra company, you'll be shocked. Do you know, say, company where a friend Dawad na omomano 115,000 each container be over left 200 containers are almost by how many Nipa we juma was our company The award company no a nipa one pair. And only one envisage one person. Company no Oma for nipa ba pay juma. They envisage to employ only one person. One. But that company has been given a contractor or left container ba kubia or temapota 115,000 Ghana times 200. 1.5 billion times 200 containers. After your marking a board chair, he signed this and he agreed. Dubik Mahama and a management MD on a sign here and I'm said this is good to go. We are talking about billions. We are talking about billions of dollars. This is not a joke. And remember, the question I was asking Afinyoma Kenene say, does he know anything about these things? Because from the beginning, ECG told management that they don't have funds to clear containers at the port. Suddenly, ECG has been able to raise 115,000 each for a container. Two companies, 100 and the container bakubia 160,000, 1.6 billion. So I'm asking, the board chair of ECG, did he know about this? Did he sign it? Does Dubik Mahama, who used to be the MD, did he know about this before stepping away? We are asking simple questions. I am not fighting Afinyomakin. I want Ghanaians to know who Afinyomakin is. In the Saudi calculation now, Mint company, they made away with 177.6 million Ghana cedis free. And Dawad for they made away with 23 million Ghana cedis free. 177.6 million Ghana cedis. Look what Ghana cedis over 17 trillion. They made that money free. And Dawad for they made 23 million free. The containers to date we don't know where they are. They were supposed to clear the containers, but as we speak today, we don't know where all those containers are. Now, when you get to third point fourth, no, that's 1 second. Let me know where we were. Now we are done with this. Yes. Point 19. And don't forget, Napo was the sector minister. Napo was the energy minister. Don't forget to. The minister was Napo. Don't forget, Napo was overseeing all this. Afinyo was the board chair. Now, point 19. The two clearing agents started profiling all ECG containers on UCL. Into the two companies, they started doing their checks. They started counting the containers. Because Sikabe Fie. Now, point 20. The committee noted during discussions that in as much as management indicated there were no funds to clear the piled up containers at the port, they awarded contracts to these clearing agents mentioned above and made some payment. Investigators who say upon in summer management, Dubik Mahama, Afenyoma Kimokase, Sikeni Honyinano, they were able to make payment to these two companies. 20 million and 177 million. Where did they get the money from? Because if we had not stopped the 5 million that was put in a special shipping account, it was clearing every container that comes quickly. We wouldn't have gotten here. It means somebody deliberately stopped it for the containers to pile up to bring a company to come and clear and make over 200 million Ghana cedis. That is the part we are talking about when a friend creates, loot, and share at the Afinyo marking. Dubik Mahama at ECG. This is dangerous. These people are not supposed to be staying at home tonight. Say, are you ready to say about corruption? They are supposed to be spending time at BNI office and answering questions. Afinyo marking or teshi. Or awo, maybe awo picture about Chiremo, or then Korani and wrong picture about Chiremo. Now, when you read point 20, point 21, This decision of management, unfortunately, rendered the shipping department of ECG almost redundant. It is that decision now. I had to be from Kaligaja Post time all the way to Afenyomakin's time. No, that department now anka was a no anka a good flat. The idea, the plan was to break down that department, and they succeeded because almost starve that department, of mania. So that department it is automatically going to collapse. So what they did was that they starved it. They did not give it money. They did not put money in there. The moment that department is shut down, the containers will pile up. And when the containers pile up, they can bring their companies in to come and clear and pay them. That's all. And then after your market, kind of parliament, because he has an idea into it. Now we'll come back to TNEA. Listen to him very well.
ECG. I had the privilege of chairing the board in July. Because I'm a businessman, the first question I ask myself is that how can ECG award a contract? And when the contract is awarded, all the person does is deliver at the port, present bill of lading, and request for payment. I said, with the greatest respect, I don't want to use a word. This is parliament. I was shattered. I said, how? And ECG would have to pay. So I realized that ECG was paying a lot of bills when they've not even had access to the goods. And when you ask them, I asked the procurement manager, director of procurement, a question. I said, why did he say, oh, chairman, this is the practice since. This is the practice.
He's lying. If that was the practice and you saw that the practice was wrong, as the board chair, what were you supposed to do? He also joined the practice. We were Jimmy or a Cronfort. Per this document I'm reading to you, why court is a practice illegal? What do you do as the board chair? Did you join the practice? Yes. Because if you did not want to join the practice, you would have stopped the practice. But because you are a businessman with the intentions of making billions, you join the practice. So you are guilty, you are a criminal, you need to be questioned, and you need to be jailed. You are a liar. You are a thief. Now, me soccer punch, so we do baby. Kevin. Now, my uncle page, page 23. This is the investigation report. Investigative report no my detailed na me dwam afenyo makin obegina pale so mo hwe junsogu no ho on kan kore or say NIB jakpa or some pick afenyo app or pick the big Mahama app or pick Keligajepo. They need to answer questions, Mr. Mahama. Now let's read this one. I'm in sure DB. Now when you read this page, this is what they basically the findings now. The committee obtained the list of containers from the Director of Materials and Transport of ECG, the Director of Ports, and the manager responsible at the Meridian Port Services MPS terminal at the Tema Port. Inti investigators no ana committee no omukoye and omuko the Director of Material and Transport omukoje the list of containers are a Tema Port. And na omusako the MPS omu ana omukipi containers no port as containers are also a bit to abegino omuko also koje list. That is what the committee and our investigative team know. Now look at what happened next. Now, the committee physically counted the containers and compared them to the list obtained and found various degrees of discrepancies. I'm say committee need a list every ECG transport. How many containers na more port? I'm so you this amount. I'm so far less in my. And I'm call MPS for no hold the containers and say, you see ECG containers you ha. Now you're saying more for less than my. J less than me no. And Omagasa call baby a container no. And Omako kind container nina. And Omu say no. Bibi so. Bibi a shifty. A shifty. A dare not shifty. Omu say numbers not shifty. And see there are some discrepancies. For PZ4, you can say discrepancies are not just say and shouldn't see any bibi enhyeda nsie ni ye enhyeda ngina bibi ayera wom just say asheda shift yandwudwom na menkyerɛ bibi. Now this is what they found. See below the results of the containers counted and the degrees of discrepancies. Almost say table we na betchero. Almost kind container no ground no. Any list no no ECG. Any list no MPS for port no. Almost chemo. Almost physically the mumu ye. Now list of containers obtained. Almost Ghana Port and Harbour no. Now list of the bomb here 1,132. Containers are ECG. Ekachiro omo se omo wono. ECG say omo 2,464. Inti ECG 4 oko port for so omo 1,134. 32. Oba eye containers are omo so omo obtain e wo ho na ECG 4 so containers near 2,462. Now containers accessed and counted by the committee. ECG 4 can say omo de containers say what port wo 2,462 and a port for so dabi 1,132. Now committee ni call ho na omo anka se ko kind physically no omo hu say eye ECG 4 no containers are na ewo ha omo ka se eye 2,462 no na enye 2,462 na eye 1,134. Ghana Port and Harbour 4 eka say containers are sebio ewo mo ho no eye 1,132 omo koduru na 1,134. That means say omo de ne 2 per NFA so meaning say the port for no car no na no kura kutrodo two containers per NFA omuni so nanso ECG for there omo ka kire committee so oh ya 2,462 and a port wo committee koduru port wo no na 1,134 meaning 1,328 containers ayra eni ho physically eni ho. Do you understand? Omoje list every ECG was a container send a port. Almost a container port 2,462 and I'm say thank you. And I'm call a shipping company was say ECG 4 containers send a and a ECG for a shipping company say oh I had the port at the ECG 4 on paper the name say containers 1,132 and I'm so good. Yani anka say be kind. Omko kan no omo say shipping company nika say 1,132. In fact, omo 1,134. Meaning say shipping company no omo ni for 2 peso. Now omo check ECG for now omo say omo containers in kwa ho 2,462 no. Omo ko hu say containers wo ho na physical omo kan no na 1,134. Meaning ECG for short 1,328. The 1,328 containers na away. That is the question our investigators no ebusa. Now, ye mama chira wade bi. MPP afenyo marking. Unnim de ba. Now, point 3. Out of the list of 2,462 containers provided by ECG as a number of containers on UCL, a whopping 1,328 could not be accessed by the committee, while 34 were in transit and yet to arrive at the port, as at 31st January 2025, as indicated in the document provided by ECG. Now, neither Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority nor ECG could account for the 1,338 containers at the time of writing this report. I'm say, I'm busa port of one say na na ende I say ECG forecast say 1,134 na waha 2,000 334 na waha you do 8,000 port of one say ECG for numbers some dey amamo no mo boa ye busa ECG for say sa containers no wen sa containers na wen ye ngina ha now don't move ho enema NDC government led by the energy minister Eka said no, they are going to open investigations and follow the money, follow the containers. Na you start ehu saa nyoma we, you start chichi containers. Ye wie yo, ma mefa we nchira oni ento aso.
So that is what we have over there. So they were in the process of melting all this.
No, but the immediate thing is to stop every movement now.
And we are going this way.
No, now no, but even Bambude,
All right, so now, but I want everybody to have you. There are many, so we need to. Okay, so this is originally how all the containers came. And you can see how they are sealed in the wooden pellets. Some people manage to break the seals to these containers. Then they removed. So see, apart the first line, we have one, I can see eight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other 8 or 9. Is it 8?
yeah, it's supposed to be 8, and then 8 coming all the way to.
Okay, fine. So some quantity have been taken from the top. There will be only one over there. So this line is gone. And when you open all the containers, you see the same trend. So it means that it was cleverly done by the criminals behind these whole activities. So we just wanted you to have information about this. They are not yet taking the content, but they are cleverly taking some from the top line, top layer. Yes. So they take and they leave the last one over there. When we open the next container, you see the same thing over there.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.